At the time of recording this, I am finally in my new barn, and I've given some sneak peeks. Like, there are special links that went out just to our um, anyone who's in our RCG VIP list. If you're like not part of it, it's just at designsuitecourses.com/free. Like, I send out kind of special secret videos that only the people on our newsletter list gets to see, which is super awesome and fun. And I kind of can just talk off the bat and show you things that I'm not normally going to show on our channels. So if you want to be part of that, you can check that out. But it's really had me thinking a little bit about creative potential. I think every single one of us has true creative potential. I feel like we come out of the womb wanting to create, and the way we create is different. You know, there are people who love creating floral arrangements. There are people who are wonderful at decorating their homes. There are people who craft and sew and crochet and knit and create all of these amazing things. There are people, as they look around their world, they're creating by serving people around them and helping children. And it's like, you guys, there is just everything in us truly wants to make. We just want to make and create. And as we get older, it seems like creative potential diminishes. And I would tell you that the actual opposite of that is going on. As we get older, we actually get more experience. By having more experience, we actually have more creative potential because we have more intelligence, more resources at our fingertips. So why are so many of us giving up on our dreams or not finishing the stuff that we're working on? Why does that happen? And I think this really applies to you. If I just want you to think of this. Do you have any unfinished projects, unopened sketchbooks, or untouched design software? Okay. Like, if these are things that are happening to you, or you don't finish your projects, like, there might be some things going on that, you know, we need to address. All right. So I'm excited about this episode because I'm hoping you'll hang out with me and we can really look into this, like, little bit of suffering that our creativity feels and how we can address it so that we can be more creative. I think this is a humanistic quality, you guys. Like, whether you want to be a designer or not, doesn't really matter. That each one of us has the power to create, and we need to figure out ways to get that back. There was a 2021 Canvas study done. They found out that 68% of creatives said that scrolling through design or craft content made them feel worse about their own skills. Worse, you guys. Like, that whole comparison thing, like, it, instead of like gleaning from social media, which we used to do it from Pinterest, right? We'd see something on Pinterest we'd go put it into our board and we'd hold on to it. For whatever reason, there has been a little bit of a change. Instead of feeling excited, like, oh, I can do that project, we feel worse and feel like our own skills are not up there. 47% admitted to stopping a project after seeing someone else do it better. And I think this is really fascinating because I'm missing the days where we were excited to find a project so that we could copy it, so we could do it for our girls' camp or our home or our family reunion. Like, it was exciting to see those things so that we could create something new. And now we're kind of seeing the opposite happen, where people stop doing the project because they feel like theirs is not good enough. You guys, this is such a problem. Some of you are not doing this. You're like, nope, I know my creative potential is amazing. But others of you, if you are feeling like this is you, listen up, okay? Let's talk about this, because I really want you to get past this, because you have so much creative potential and that comparison is killing you. Or do you quit projects because you just feel like you don't have the time? You started, you had the time to begin with, and then you stopped because of whatever reason, okay? I want you to finish the projects that you're working on and be excited about them, whether it's design, it's crafting, it's making, it's decorating, whether it's, if you're an MCM, like our Marketing for Creatives membership, like, you are creating and finishing the things you're going to do. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's talk about the thing that I think is really getting to a lot of people, and that is the fear of imperfection. Another way to call this is perfectionism, but it's more, I want to get more specific because it's this fear of imperfectionism that really stops us from doing what we ought to be doing. We think that if something is not flawless, then it's just not worth making at all, which is very, very interesting. Remember your grandma's quilts, or remember your grandma's my grandmother-in-law crocheted all these cute little dish towels for me that I totally used, and they were the best. Remember that they did this, and it didn't matter that it wasn't perfectly square. And sometimes in some ways, it was almost better when it wasn't perfectly square because it was so fun just to have the homemade thing. We've kind of lost some of that. The whole idea of being perfect all the time is, I think social media has made us feel like that's the thing we have to do versus the idea that we make for the sake of making because it's a delightful and joyous thing in our life. I had someone in our Creative Entrepreneur Mastermind program, which we launch in October and will be available we only have 10 spots in it for people to join. And we do that January through March of every year. But it was just fascinating because we had someone in our group who said, I'm going to commit to making one imperfect video every single week. And I thought that was really powerful because the whole idea that we have to make a video every week, right? That's something I make multiple videos. If you are on my YouTube lives all the time, which by the way, you should come because we're doing them every single week, you'll notice a ton of imperfection in them, trying to get them going. We do them live because they are imperfect and it's kind of fun that way. But this whole idea of an imperfect video every week, I loved because the only way to get to flawlessness, perfectionism, is being imperfect for lots and lots of years. Most people don't see all those years of imperfection for people. And so if you're afraid of being imperfect, I'm going to ask you or challenge you to release that, okay? Because it's a mindset that kills momentum. And it kills the very thing that I think makes us all very human, which is childlike curiosity and experimentation. When we are curious about something, I wonder how I would do at this, it becomes a much more powerful thing. And if you look at it more like play, right? A small child who's playing with a new toy, they're trying to figure out what it does, right? So they'll take the toy, maybe they'll put it in their mouth and taste it. At least that's what my kids always did. Then they would put it in both hands. They'd turn it upside down. They move it on the side. They'll scrape it on the floor. They'll hit it and bang it against things, right? It's that experimentation and curiosity to see what this thing does that actually gives us the research necessary to become perfect and to use the thing correctly. But we're spending so much time wanting to be flawless from the very beginning that we lose that curiosity and experimentation. So if you're wondering why your creative potential is suffering, this I think is the number one reason I'm seeing people really lose out in this game of building up their creative potential, okay? A good example of this in the design world, because I work with designers, is the designer who never uploads their portfolio because it's just not done. Guess what, guys? My portfolio, I've been doing this for over 20 years now. I've owned my own design businesses for 17 and a half, but I've been designing for 20 plus years. I've been teaching for longer than that. And my portfolio still is not done. So what does that say? There are some things that are just a work in progress. I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about laundry and how laundry is a cycle. We all think laundry is done when it's put away, but because it's an actual cycle where dirty laundry goes into one place, then it goes into washer and dryer, then it comes out and it sits someplace until you can fold it, and then it gets put into your closet. That it's actually a cycle, not a done thing, and that is the thing that makes it like, so we always feel like we're losing because we're in 4 or 5 other pieces of the cycle, not in the done piece. And so this whole idea that everything is always done is a silly notion, but that rather most of us are in a cycle. I feel that way about designers and portfolios. We are actually in a cycle, right? We're in a cycle. Because we're in a cycle, that's really actually really important. There's no place where we're done. And if you think about your creative potential in that way and the projects you're working on as a cycle, not that it's always done. Like this project you're working on right now, the only reason you're doing it is because it will lead you into the next project that you're going to do later. And you'll have more expertise with your glue gun, or you're going to have more expertise on cutting. Those things are really, really powerful. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit also about the comparison paralysis. Okay. I think that if social media is hurting you, it's time to get off of it and just take a break from it. Okay. So it's an interesting thing, and it depends on your personality. I think we all can fall into it a little bit, but if scrolling other people's work constantly can convince you that you're falling behind, even when you're in a totally different stage, then that doesn't benefit you. And we should be doing only things that benefit our lives at this time, I think, in our lives. We should be doing things that make us feel like we're winning, that we're not struggling, and that we're moving forward, okay? If you stop posting on social media, like for example, if you're doing marketing and one of your strategies is content production, and you stop posting because someone else is doing it better, I'm like doing it with quotation marks, air quotation marks, better than you, man, you'll never do anything. There is always someone out there doing everything better than me. But that can't stop us, okay? That just...
Have you been dreaming of earning a master's degree or a design certificate that could lead you to launch your very own business? The University of Arts and Design has unique programs where you not only learn how to design, but how not to be a starving artist, which is why I created it. Join us in our upcoming Design Your Future event. Visit uad.education/designyourfuture to learn more about our students, discover the courses that we offer, and find out more about how you can become part of something truly unique in the university experience.
Really can't stop us. So I want you to continue to move forward and not worry about who's better than you. You're just going to try to be better than yourself. Got it? Okay. Next one is a lack of clear vision. So a lot of times creative potential simply suffers because maybe you're great. You don't worry about comparison. You love doing your own thing. But the issue is that you lack clear vision. Having a clear vision about what you're going to do is pretty much the most essential thing, I think, for all creativity. Whether you are sitting down and you're crafting something, or you guys know, most of you are designers or potential designers. And if you have a very clear vision of what you're going to create, I'm looking at my desk right now, and I have one of my gingerbread houses right in front of me. And that cutie little gingerbread house is so fantastic, but it is like if I hadn't envisioned that it was going to have this really tall gable on it, and that it was going to have all these cute windows and decorative borders, like it wouldn't have turned out the way it did. And so I had to have a clear vision in my brain of what I was going to be designing before I started designing them. Now, some of the little details in it I didn't know was going to be on there. I didn't know what color gumdrops I was going to put on there. I didn't know I was going to put these little peppermints on there. Those didn't happen until like I started building it. But once I had the main structure in, it was really easy to start envisioning and having clarity for those things. So my suggestion, especially for those of you who are running into problems with your creative potential, you need to have a big picture of what you're going to do first. Now, this might be as little as deciding that your first step needs to be very clearly to learn Adobe Illustrator or to learn Adobe Photoshop, right? For a craft, if you're going to do something new, my daughter, who has been working for me this summer, she's been cutting out tons of stuff for me. She's a crocheter. And it's like for her, she has to have a really clear vision of what the end product is that she's trying to create before she starts crocheting it. Is she going to be making a scarf? Is she going to be making a top and crochet the whole thing? You know, she has to know, otherwise the pieces won't come together. The small individual elements won't come together and really work. Okay. The next one that I am seeing so often, you guys, is burnout and overcommitment. So if you have overcommitted to something, and this happens like, you start a project or you start a design thing or you start a marketing thing and you just start doing it like crazy without some kind of system in place, you are going to hit burnout. So I personally use Google Calendars for scheduling everything, and I kind of schedule myself and my team and my family on it to make sure that I don't burn out. How do I know if burnout's going to happen? All I have to do is look at my calendar. If it is overfilled with activities I do not want to be doing, then that's going to be a problem. Now, there are plenty of activities we have to do in our design businesses, in our craft and making activities that we don't want to do, right? If we're doing a tutorial online and showing people how to craft, right, make or crochet something, the fun part is usually making the video, like doing the actual crafting itself. The not so fun part is going in and editing it and scheduling it and getting it ready to go. And so you have to separate out those parts and look at your calendar to make sure you have enough time on your calendar to do those things. Okay. Let's see. Oh, you guys, this is the last one I'm going to talk about. And I think it is maybe the number one killer of creative potential. And that is, I'm going to call it mislabeling yourself. Now, you might be like, what does that mean, Carina? I don't know the number of times I talk to someone who says, well, I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to paint. I'm no good at choosing color. The thing is that that's a really fixed mindset, because here's the thing. You can learn how to draw. You can learn how to paint. You can learn how to use design software. You can learn how to pick color. These are actually learned behaviors. Some people get it faster than others, but everyone can learn it. And so when we label ourselves as not artistic or not a drawer or not very good at X, Y, or Z, what we're doing is truly just limiting ourselves. And that there's nothing more detrimental to creative potential than this. And it creates so much suffering because we've already told ourselves a story that we're not good at something, and so why even bother starting or trying? If you have ever wanted to paint something and you're like, I'm not a great painter, who were you comparing yourself to? Claude Monet? Pablo Picasso? Like, who are you comparing yourself to? Like, that's the thing about painting, right? Like, if I just want to paint something and I say to myself, I'm not a great painter, well, how do I really know I'm not a great painter? Have I done it before? Has anyone, has anyone judged me on it? And that's why I don't feel like I'm any good? Or am I scared of that? I have that fear of imperfection, of someone seeing it and someone not liking it. There is no perfection in art, guys. There just isn't. There's just strokes. And so I want to challenge you to find your creative potential. Stop this suffering. Give yourself the ability to do exactly what you want to do because you want to do it, okay? I'm going to leave you guys with a couple of stats that I think are really helpful to help you understand really what is going on here, okay? So the first is that creative burnout is actually a very real thing. I've been looking at quite a bit of data on it. According to a 2022 Adobe State of Creativity report, 1 in 3 creatives say they experience burnout on a monthly basis, often due to pressure to constantly produce perfect content, okay? How about clear goals, right? Having clarity equaling lost potential. So in 2023, there was a study by the Creative Education Foundation, and they found that 72% of artists and designers who struggle to reach their goals cite lack of direction or clarity as a primary reason for feeling stuck. interesting, very interesting. And I'm going to leave you guys with this actually, I'm going to give you two last little nuggets that I really like that I found. So this whole idea of creative rest being essential, but being actually very rare. I think part of the reason I'm talking to you guys about this is not because I experience burnout, but I don't give myself enough creative rest. So neuroscience studies show that the brain's default mode network, where creativity lives, is most active when we're resting or daydreaming. And yet creatives are often overbooked. Still, only 20% of professional creatives report scheduling regular rest or play into their week, which is very interesting. And finally, I'm going to leave you with this. Your brain really does want to create. The act of creating anything, art, music, even creating a meal, increases dopamine and decreases cortisol. And, I always say to someone, like, if I'm not feeling well, I'm like, it's almost always because my cortisol is overactive. And that's just my stress hormones, right? In fact, just 45 minutes of creative activity has been shown to significantly lower stress and boost problem-solving skills, okay? 45 minutes of creative activity has been shown to significantly lower stress and boost and problem-solving skills. So I've been talking to Design Suite quite a bit about some of this. I've been saying that one of the things we should be doing is Julia Cameron's The Artist Way. She does artist dates. I really believe in that. Once a month or once a week, whatever you can do, figuring out a way to do something new and creative. I think we need creative rest. I think we need creative boosts. And then we kind of recognize that things can change for us. I saw, where was I? Was I with actually Jenny Doan? You guys know Jenny Doan of Missouri Star Quilt Company. I was at her in Hamilton with some of my design students for a retreat. And she was telling me that one of the things that she does with her family is like once a year or every 6 months, I can't remember which, she goes out of her way to do something they've never done before. So like she will go with her kids and they will go do like pottery classes or knitting or something they've just never built before. They'll do it together, which I completely love. And that's how they keep their creativity going and experimenting and trying new things. And you guys, I mean, if Jenny has to schedule that, I think all the rest of us need to schedule that as well. There's so much power in our creative potential, and most of us have not untapped it yet. And I am telling you that there is power in that. I love you, and I want you to find that creative potential. There is so much power inside you. So much power inside you to do something amazing with your life. Live it. Really live it, you guys. I'm just going to say I was at a funeral on Saturday. While I was at that funeral, my husband texted me and said, my aunt is not feeling so well. I'm going to go check on her, and went with some of his siblings. And then she passed away the very next day. And, I think the combination of me being at a funeral and then that happening, you guys, we have one life to live. Don't diminish what you can do with it. Stop telling yourself you're not good at things. Just do the things you really want to do. Really do them. Dig into them. Try it. See if it can make you a really fabulous life. And if you're someone who has been wanting to become a designer and you wish you knew a little bit more about that, I do two different things. The first one is I own a university, the University of Arts and Design. Come do a design certificate or come get a master's degree and get those necessary classes that would make you learn how to be a designer who's free and flexible. We have a Master's of Arts in Design business. I don't know of anyone else who has something like that, and we really teach you how to run a business. It's awesome. The second thing is I own a design program called Design Suite. It's a year-long program, and it is for people who really want to become amazing designers. And if that is something that is of interest to you, come join us. All you have to do is go to designsuitecourses.com/designbootcamp. Sign up for Design Bootcamp. It's just $27. Learn from my 5-day bootcamp, like 5 hours of coursework, what it takes to get started, what we love, how we teach it. It's like a really easy way to understand a little bit about the design world and starting your business. And then from there, if you want to keep working with me, you can join Design Suite. So we've tried to make it really easy for you guys to find the ways that make the most sense for you to really unlock all of that potential as a creative. And those of you who want to become a designer, if that's your way, that you can work with me. I hope you're doing well. I hope you unlock that creative potential and do something fun and new this week. And I'll see you soon. Want to hang out more? Go to designsuitecourses.com/free to get our weekly freebies and patterns, die cut files, and more. Can't wait to see you there.